Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bright Founders Talk at Temy. Temy is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. Welcome to our podcast, where we bring you the most inspiring stories of entrepreneurs and experts in the software development industry. And each week, we interview successful leaders who share their unique journeys and valuable insights. I'm your host, Barry, and today we're lucky enough to be joined by a remarkable guest, Chelsie Hall, who is CEO at ViralMoment. Hello, Chelsie. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Barry. Thank you so much for having me today.
No problem. How are you doing today, by the way?
Doing good. It's a beautiful sunny day in San Francisco, so I cannot complain.
I wish I could say the same. It's grey and dark and rainy here in England, so we're playing the part. Just for those who don't know you, could you tell a little bit about yourself and the company that you work at?
Absolutely. I'm Chelsie Hall. I'm the founder and the CEO of ViralMoment. And, at the end of the day, we realized there was this huge gap in the market where there was no great technology to understand video. And there's so much video being made today and on the internet, and there's video everywhere. And lots of big brands, companies can't understand it. So that's what we've built at ViralMoment. We are a venture-backed startup. We've raised a couple $1 million. We work with excellent world-class customers, and we help the world understand what's happening inside video.
Could you just share your journey a little bit about the company and just kind of like elucidate how it came into existence?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't start out as an entrepreneur in my career. I think I come from a line of entrepreneurs, but I certainly I graduated from school, went on to work for a couple of big companies. But I was doing this work. I was at the Department of Defense as a subject matter expert, doing freelancing with think tanks, helping them understand what people say online. So, there'd be really interesting questions would come up. Hey, what do people in Afghanistan think about the price of bread? What do people in the country of Georgia think about a Pfizer vaccine? Whatever. My whole job was to help people understand, what's going on online. And there was such a mismatch. There were so many fabulous technologies out in the world to understand text and what was happening in the text-based space that I got to use and see and play around with. But I kept looking at the world and I was like, wait, video is everywhere. Video is so important. It's so rich. It's what influences our decisions, our behaviors. And there was no way to measure it. And I just was getting so frustrated in my work life. I was like, wait a minute, someone's got to solve this problem. Like, video needs to be understandable so that we can see it at scale and understand the world and people. And there was just nothing. I scoured looking through the market for a solution. So I was like, well, I mean, I guess I could figure this one out. Like, video's not rocket science, kind of. So it was a couple of years ago, I met my co-founder, Shada. She was brilliant too. I think having an excellent co-founder has been such a huge part of the journey. She was working at the time for NASA, piloting drones with computer vision. She has 2 master's degrees from Carnegie Mellon. I was like, you're brilliant. I see a huge problem. Let's connect and, figure out how to make video readable and understandable. So that was really how we got this thing off the ground. But there's a lot more work behind the scenes that went into it too.
You talk very passionately about the company and the things that you believe in. What is it that you particularly find fascinating about this particular field?
I think there's just a gap in the world, that actually is causing a lot of people across the world pain that needs to be solved. And that's sort of what gets me out of bed, every morning. Back to 3-4 years ago, as I was starting the company, I was realizing how influential videos were on people. It was an interesting, turbulent political time. There was a lot of disinformation going on in the world. Even if you look at right now, what's happening in the world, anyone can make anything with a video, right? I could make a video with your face, Barry, I don't know, tap dancing across the coffee shop I'm sitting at right now. And that may be real. It may not be real, but it does influence how people think, feel, and believe. So there is this real serious issue that there's video online and being made and being created that is driving culture. And before ViralMoment and everything I've started, there was no way to see it, to understand it, to measure it, to begin to understand what's real, what's not real out there. And I just was like, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was getting really obsessed as I started ViralMoment with how are we going to manage this? It's almost like Google. If you look at Google in the 90s, there was all this information on the internet, but there was no way to sort it, measure it, and see it. It's like, damn, we got to find a way to see this. So that's therein lies my passion. People need ways to measure culture.
What's been your biggest challenge to date?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, this problem is huge and I'm passionate about it. But in a business, you got to make money and you got to have like a market of people who are willing to pay for this. So we've really found some sweet spots with ViralMoment where huge brands and agencies need to understand and measure what's happening. We're working with them right now. But at the end of the day, like just taking it to market, like we've got this incredible technology, but how can we make it solve real problems that people are willing to pay for? And it's not cheap to build AI that can read and understand video. So like we need to make substantial money. So that's been a really fun part of the business, but certainly something that, we've had to figure out.
So when people come to you and stakeholders, do they ever have any misconceptions about what it is that they're looking at from videos and what data that they can glean from it? Or do they have like really innovative ways that you maybe didn't think of before and thought, oh, maybe we can actually utilize that?
Yeah, you know what? Without a tool like ViralMoment, everyone was just doing it manually. So I was talking to tons of organizations and leaders at brands and agencies, and they were just like watching videos and having teams of humans or interns like scrolling online or out there just scouring to like try to find stuff. Which, it works to put a lot of just human energy on understanding what's happening in video, but it also kind of doesn't. If you look at just like the nature of video, there's a couple dynamics. One is it takes a lot of time to watch a video. And, a human can only watch, there's 24 hours in a day, so 24 hours worth of video a day. And I think the stat is which I don't remember, like 500 years of video are being uploaded to the internet every hour right now.
Wow.
It's like, how could a human or a team of humans or a huge team of humans even keep on top of that? They couldn't. So they're, the way that people solve this problem without us is throwing humans at it. And that doesn't even solve the problem. It doesn't even cause a dent in how you solve the problem. The other thing I will add, not only is there just a lot of time involved, but algorithms are serving us video, right? So, Barry, you hop online and you go on your platforms or, wherever you get your video. That's probably really different from me. And that's really different from everyone in the audience. So we call it algorithm fog at ViralMoment. How do you actually break out of your algorithm fog to see what's real and what's out there and what people think and believe? You can't unless you have a tool that can watch video at scale and understand video at scale, make it searchable, summarizable. So that's where we come in and, make that possible.
So since we're starting to talk about tech, and you mentioned AI very briefly, so let's move on to that subject. So what kind of tech trends are currently catching your attention within the industry, and what are the driving factors behind their significance?
My gosh, we are living in a golden age right now. There's just, with AI coming online, so much is possible that has never been possible. It's like this is like a revolution, and we are so fortunate to be builders right at the beginning of it. So I can't even, you're getting me excited again, Barry. But really, like, at the end of the day, AI is democratizing the ability to get amazing things off the ground. So, people can spin up startups, applications, things that like 5 years ago were not even fathomable or would have taken millions of dollars and tons of people. And now, someone sitting in their basement can whip up something that's like absolutely amazing and mind-blowing and would have like shocked your old self 5 years ago. So I think that is really, really exciting to me, just being able to harness everything that's possible. I would say the other thing that really excites me is there's so much going on in that, like, at tech space, right? AI is able to, but like there still is a huge gap in video. And that's very appealing to me too, because I'm like, okay, we're solving things faster than ever. There's more possible than ever, but there's still this massive, massive gap in the market that is not getting enough attention, but that is driving a major problem. So if you're just looking at like TAM, opportunity windows, like where can we build that just as a vacuum right now that just needs solutions, applying AI to understanding, creating video, it's so rich, so fun, and what a cool time to be building.
It is really interesting in what you're talking about. And forgive me for going maybe a little bit off topic. Are you able to use like AI to identify like deepfakes or disinformation? Is that something that you're currently able to do? And if so, what challenges are involved in that?
Oh my gosh. Yes and no, I would say. So like at the end of someone described it as a game of cat and mouse. You figure out some technique or you work with a partner who's figured out a technique, but then the techniques that people are using to create disinformation change. So it's sort of it's the kind of thing, it's a problem that you always got to keep working on because the goalpost moves. Even if you look at like the disinformation and videos that people were creating 2 years ago, were so much slower. I remember everyone's hands were so weird in the video. So it was so easy to be like, these are fake. They have weird hands. But now we've figured out how to make good hands with AI. So it's like, okay, now we got to change our tactics and keep getting better and better. So what we do at ViralMoment, and something that really why I love being in this space so much, we aren't just creating the solutions. We are creating the core technology that reads video so that we could partner via APIs and technology partnerships with lots of different companies who are working on these things. So yeah, you can solve for disinformation. You can solve for deep fakes, but it's something that we need. It's not just my company. We need my company plus, a lot of other brilliant minds and companies all working on these like really, really hard, massive problems. So we're not just creating the solution. We're kind of like a pick and shovel, creating that video technology that other brilliant people can go use to harness to solve those two problems, but have a ton of other really interesting use cases around applying video understanding technology.
So let's imagine someone's watching this video now and they're really interested in what you've got to sell and are looking to buy. Where can they go to find out information, and what kind of things could you offer them?
Yeah. So, this is part of the nature of being a startup too. We're actually in the middle of expanding the company right now. To date, over the last 3 years, ViralMoment has built our own application, a social intelligence tool, and we've brought that to market. But what we're just starting to do, and just in the middle of making some changes around, we are enabling other companies right now via APIs to use our video understanding technology. And I'm still whipping up the websites and things around that. But I will say hello@viralmoment.com is the best way to get in touch with us. And we're actually in the middle of creating a whole developer program and community right now where people can start to play around with and use our technology and build it into their solutions.
Could you just outline a little bit of your primary focal points and any ongoing projects or endeavors other than that you're looking to talk about today?
At the end of the day, I'm really focused right now, Barry, and there's so many different use cases and applications. There's a lot of stuff that we could get into, but what I want people to know and what I want to share is it's possible now to build video understanding into your applications. ViralMoment is offering that. I'm just so excited to empower the builders of the world with technology that's going to be just increasingly relevant as we get into worlds where things are in video. It's so fun how many startups I'm seeing that are building in our video processing technology. I was talking today to someone who runs a recruitment agency, and they do video recruiting, and they wanted to understand the video recruiting with our technology. We're talking to someone else who's got a bunch of video libraries that they want to make searchable, and they're using our tech to power that in their apps. So there's partners out there who can do the hard things that you want to do right now when you're building, and I'm excited to be one of those for our community.
It is a really interesting field to be in, but you mentioned there's not a lot of competitors for you. Why is it that you've managed to corner the market and pioneer this when so many people haven't?
There are a few competitors. We're not the only people in the game right now, but I would say there's two really cool parts to this. One is it's hard. Building proprietary AI to understand video is not something you can just wake up and do. And I'm very fortunate to have built a really skilled team around me who can do this. We're backed by Carnegie Mellon. I lived for a few years on Stanford's campus, so I won't pretend I'm not privileged to have the opportunities to have been exposed to these things. The other thing is timing. Things weren't possible 3-4 years ago that are possible today. So we started actually building proprietary video AI before OpenAI and ChatGPT came live. So we were in the right place at the right time, working on a problem that was just blowing up. And, we didn't start here too. We pivoted the company. You got to kind of listen to the wind and follow the market. And we've done that. But we've very intentionally put ourselves in the right place at the right time to be solving the right problems just as they're blowing up.
Oh, that's very modest of you. I'm sure there is more to it than just luck. I'm sure the skill and opportunities that you've had helped to develop that as well. So you mentioned other people at your company. What kind of characteristics or qualities are you looking for in people to help you on your venture?
Yeah, what a great question, Barry. And you know what? it's hard to build the right team for a startup. And part of the reason for that is you're changing and you're always kind of changing. I think running a startup is kind of like sailing. I don't know who sailed, but like the wind is changing. And if you don't change your sails to go with the wind, you're going to just be sitting in the water. So when we look for team members, we certainly want those startup-y type of people who are comfortable to shift, who are excited to be learning. You know, if you're someone who just like wants to get instructions and build something that follows instructions, startups probably are the right place. But if you're someone who can take a high level goal and figure out how to get there, like people thrive. So I love working with startup-y people who are excited about change, excited about exploring, who aren't scared by, moving around a lot and changing a lot. There's a work ethic too to it that's just like dogged. It can be a real grind. And like I expect an extreme amount from my people because we got to move 10x faster with a team a tenth the size. So it's not easy, but for the right type of people who really just like love learning, love figuring things out, love independence, love being the solutioners, this is fun.
I think I'm sold. Sounds really exciting. Just how do you keep up to date with the latest development within your field? Because as you mentioned at the start of it's constantly on pace. And I don't know of a time where technology is moving as fast as it is now. How do you keep up to date?
Yeah. And you know what I'll say is you almost can't. And, just because the pace of everything is moving so fast. And one of the things you have to do is just build and show up. And sometimes by the time you're like finished with a sprint, there's a new technology out and you would have changed the way you've done it. But if you wait until you understand it, or if there is an art to just moving and jumping in the deep end, even though you're like maybe not fully comfortable swimming, because that's the only way, to be on top of the latest and greatest, because you're already building in it and you're like, wait, I'm building here and it's not quite right. And I see this over here. So by starting before you're ready, by getting into it, by admitting, hey, I don't know all the latest and greatest things because I can't, but I'm going to start and I'm going to be building and I'm going to be a sponge to absorb everything I can as I go. And I'm going to be willing to change my sails. You can harness all of that and like be in the middle of it. So like I would say good luck to anyone who thinks that they can know all the latest going on right now. You can't. Just start and be willing to be fluid in how you're getting to where you're going.
I suppose when it's that kind of environment and you can't be up to date at all times in all places, networking is quite important. Now, you said at the start that you come from a family of entrepreneurs, but you yourself aren't necessarily one, or perhaps you are now, but maybe you weren't at the start. How important has networking been for you, and what kind of role does it play now?
Yeah, networking is huge, but I would also say you have to be thoughtful and careful with your networking. Networking can be a huge distraction. I have spent so many hours talking to so many people who probably who just took time. And what I need, the time is one of my most valuable resources in doing all of this. So networking in a way that you are laser focused on talking to the people that matter. And for me, that's technologists and customers. So, I always get calls from people who want to like partner or who want to do something together. I don't even go to like many like tech week events and things like that anymore because I'm like, you know what? If you aren't a builder who can help me build this or a customer who can help me pay for this and who I can serve with this technology, I like, you got to have your blinders on. Those are like my people. And that's who I'm interested and excited to network with. And outside of that, like there's the noise and you kind of have to just like quiet the noise or else you could spend all day networking and never building.
So for someone who's always on the go and always got something on their plate, like how do you stay motivated and like inspired as an entrepreneur, especially like when the times are particularly tough or the journey feels particularly challenging?
Yeah, I've got to say there's days where it's really hard and you kind of got to push through. Like as a founder going on multiple years, you get burnt out and there's periods and times where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just exhausted, and breaks are important. But at the end of the day, if you're actually obsessed with solving a problem and obsessed with your customers and the market that you're solving for, it keeps you going. So, I'm really passionate that we can see video to make the world a better place. I'm really passionate about the people that we help do that. I'm really passionate about the people who also care about that, who build alongside me. and that keeps me going. And staying focused on the problem that you're solving, it keeps you getting out of bed in the morning.
So you've had a really illustrious career and an illustrious journey. What has been the most valuable lesson that you've learned along the way?
I'd say like trusting yourself and your gut and what you know and believe is more important than I ever gave it credit for. Like before I started ViralMoment, I really sought out, I still seek out advisors, and I have advisors who I like deeply, deeply respect. But at the end of the day, like I'm the one who knows what to do and what to build. Like not every second, of course, I have to like figure things out. But like it's like Dorothy in the red slippers. Like it's been in me the whole time. So I think just being confident that your gut and your ideas and the vision that you have deep within your head is the rudder to your sailboat is empowering. And I would say like for everyone out there who has like an idea or wants to build something, that like passion's got to be deep inside you. Like go find it and tap into it. That's how you're gonna really get moving.
That's an amazing answer. Thank you. But Chelsea, we are starting to run out of time. But the last thing I'd like to ask you before we do is if you could just share some of your experience as an entrepreneur. Let's say someone's watching this and they want to start their own company or they've got some doubts maybe. What kind of advice could you give to them based on your experiences?
Yeah, I would say start before you're ready. Just start showing up, and you'll never be ready, and your initial idea is probably a little bit off from what like the final idea is going to be, and that's okay. If you wait till you're perfect, you'll never get going. So start, be willing to change. Don't be flat-footed. You're not an expert, but like you're as much of an expert as anyone. So show up, and that's the biggest thing. And once you do that, and once you get that momentum, you'll be amazed at how far it can take you.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that pool of wisdom. Chelsea, I just want to thank you so much again for taking time out to talk with us today. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Barry. And thank you to everyone who's listening in. It's been a pleasure.
That was Chelsie Hall, CEO at ViralMoment.